That's right. Monday, new edition of the Palaki Zone, and it wouldn't be a show unless you brought in the first, the second, and now I think we're up to 4 now, Coach. Maybe if I turned your mic on, we'd have a little better hearing.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's 4,
okay.
Coach. 4 now.
Yeah,
on the Palaki Zone.
4-timer here, man. That's good.
It's exciting. It's one of the best, that's for sure. But everyone we bring in is great. But we're talking about basketball today. And the Lobos were in Abilene, and a tough road swing this weekend. You were in both games against McMurray and against Hardin-Simmons. It just didn't fall your way. A couple of tough losses. But what did you take away from the trip?
I just hurried over here right after practice, and there's not a whole lot of good come out of that trip, to be honest with you. We didn't execute very well at all, either game. And Hardin-Simmons, we played harder. We competed better. McMurray, we were a bunch of zombies out there just wandering around and didn't compete, didn't play together. And so I guess if you do learn something from it, I guess it can be a positive. But that should have been 2 wins, and it's not. And it's put us behind the 8 ball a little bit. And we got a big week coming up. We're going to have to fight out of it.
So what do you do, Coach? A couple of losses. I mean, ASC champions last year. Obviously, we've talked. It's a different team. It's getting better. But a couple of losses against teams that coulda, shoulda, beat, whatever. What do you do?
You just keep pounding the rock with them, and just keep reiterating what we are and who we are, and what are our core values, and what are we about. We've gotten away from it. It's tough. I've had to bring these guys back to these core values several times. And, it's just been a unique group of guys and a unique group of personalities, and to get them all to mesh and play together and play the way that we want, it's been a challenge this year. And, good players, good kids, not, nothing malicious about them, just things aren't clicking right now. We've got to figure that out before Thursday.
Now, as the season's gone along, I think it's easy to say that the team has certainly improved. You go back to the first ASC game against UT Dallas, and then you go on the road against LeTourneau, games you really weren't in for most of the game, especially in the second half. But after that, you've been in every game since, with some wins, some losses, close, a couple of them stretched out more to 10, a 1-point loss against McMurray. But the improvement of this team, I think, is evident.
Yeah, and, that's what everybody keeps trying to tell me. Is, hey, at least you're not getting beat by 30. That really doesn't make me feel good, though. I had high expectations for this team, and I still do. I still think that this is a team that, if they will just do what they need to do and get together and put together a run, they could, I think realistically looking at winning the West is probably out of reach. You never know. We still got, what do we got? 7 games left. So, a lot can happen in 7 games. You never know, but certainly we'd have to, change a lot of things about what we're doing. But, it's the kind of team that if we do get in a tournament, we got a chance to beat anybody. So, we've proven that in our non-conference, go beat some ranked teams and play tough competition. And so, we just got to figure it out. It's just right now, just the mojo's bad. And I think a little bit of it, to be honest with you, is they're tired of me. And, people don't realize this, but we haven't had a home game since November the 28th. Mm-hmm. And we've been on the road a lot. And, you go on the road, I'm pretty strict about what I do on the road. So I tell these guys basically, when they get up in the mornings, I tell them when they get to eat breakfast, where are we going for lunch? What time are we going to practice? Where are we going to go for dinner? What time you go to bed?
Yeah.
And that all comes from my voice. And, it's part of working without an assistant coach here and being on the road so much. So I think they're just tired of me a little bit, and I'm certainly tired of telling them things. And, I can only tell them to close out so many times before I get frustrated.
Yeah.
And so, maybe just getting home and getting in their own beds and getting a little separation from each other a little bit, and maybe that'll be good for us.
Now, with playing and coaching, it's a two-way street. You got to be a good coach. You got to have good players. Is there anything that you've noticed about yourself, particularly a coaching style or something that you've realized you need to change or have changed as the season's gone on?
Yeah, and not so much throughout this season, but, throughout the years. I've changed quite a bit, coaching-wise. I'm always going to be tough, and I'm always going to hold, to my core values. In fact, I think this year one of the mistakes I've probably made is giving these guys a little too much leeway and, trying to be the nicer, kinder Coach Carroll, and maybe that probably that was probably a reason why we didn't start off so well. It's because I didn't have these guys ready to go, and because I was trying to make it fun, and we try to play a lot of music during practice and stuff like that, and the results are the results. You come out against Dallas and get blasted, and go over to LeTourneau and get blasted, and our shooting percentages were in the dumps, and just all that. So we had to make a change there, and we did, and we're playing better, but still it's not translating into wins like we should, and hopefully we'll keep working and figure that out.
2 weeks ago, I sat down with Travis Hendricks, and we talked about the women's season and the men's season as it's gone along. And there were three names in particular, because you can talk about Hollis and Lacone and Dawson and Atubu and all them. They were there last year. They played big minutes last year, and they're continuing to do that this year. There was one name in particular that has stepped up from last year as a bench player, and I think really made an improvement in his, I call him sort of a wild card, is Cole Avery. He, in my opinion, is the most improved player, for lack of a better term, from last year to this year, because he goes in there, he hits threes, he plays defense, he plays tough, he shoots the ball well, he's a little added height as well. Would you agree with me that he's probably the most improved player from last year to this year?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, Cole's really if you go back to 2 years ago, his freshman year, we just had this big clumsy kid. He's came in about 6'5", but I mean, I didn't know if we were going to be able to play much in practice, because I thought he was going to trip over somebody, hurt somebody, and to see the improvement of that kid and just the way that he's grown and matured I'm really proud of Cole. He's got a long ways to go. He's a very emotional kid, and emotions, kind of take over his entire being sometimes on the court. He's one of these trash talkers, right? And he gets into it, and then something happened, and he reacts negatively to it, and then I got to pull him out and settle him down. But man, he can really shoot the ball.
The three ball.
Yeah,
that's huge.
And he's the great thing about Cole is he's tall and he's fairly athletic, and he's got a high release point. So it's hard to contest him. It's hard to affect his shot defensively. And so he gets shots off that other guys, BJ is more of a set shooter and got a lower release point and a great shooter. No knock on BJ. He's 47% or something like that right now. One of the tops in the leagues, but Cole's just one of those guys that can get it off at different angles, and he's got a special ability to shoot. I wish sometimes that he'd maybe dribble a little less and and rebound a little more, things like that. But yeah, he's got a special ability to shoot, and certainly he's really, really improved and come along and been a big asset to this team.
Have you ever in your college coaching or anywhere career seen 3-and-1 threes from the same player in one game?
Oh man,
that was insane.
Yeah, that was crazy, and the officials missed 2 of them. I think you're talking about the McMurray game.
Yeah.
And, the dadgum official, actually, backstory of that official, he also does baseball umpiring, and we had him. I don't know, you probably remember the game where the guy overturned the outfield. The kid caught the ball.
Yes.
Same guy.
Really?
And actually, a guy who I really respect as an official, but he didn't call it twice. Now he said, "Well, Cliff, he's flopping." So come on, man, just call it. So
I'll give you what, Avery does know how to sell it too.
Well, yeah, a little bit, but in those 2 instances, it was legit. But I would have to think about that. I'm not sure if I've ever seen.
I haven't.
I don't know if I have. And now I'll tell you this: Connor Dawson's fouled 3 guys on threes, but they were 3 different guys. His freshman year, I think that was Mary Hardin Baylor. He did that.
Yeah.
So I've seen it happen to us before, but I don't know if I've ever had a team that the same player. Certainly, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Now you talk about Avery coming in as a freshman and whatnot with height. Your two tallest guys are both freshmen, in Jack Kirkpatrick and Braden Fry. Now, the beginning of the year, especially the UT Dallas game, it's really their first ASC game and really their first game at home. It looked like they were a little lost, but the marked improvement from them, I think it has been clear as well.
Yeah, I think, if you look at not necessarily player by player, but position by position, when you look at that spot, those 2 guys play that position. They go in and out for each other. So, over the course of the game, those two guys are going to have 40 minutes between the two of them to play the same position. We get as much or more production out of that position as we do anybody else on the court. And I think there was a game, possibly Ozarks, where one of them had 17, the other one had 15.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 32 points, and I think there was 22 rebounds combined between the two over a 40-minute span. That's pretty good, And we had that big guy last year. I always forget his name,
Yeah,
but
some guy.
And All-American or something.
I heard he was he might have been in Abilene.
I think he was
Yeah.
watching his girlfriend, not us.
Yeah.
But anyways, he gave us a lot of great production there, and everybody said, "Well, how you gonna feel that? How you gonna?" Well, I think those two guys have done a pretty good job. And to be honest with you, they've really improved throughout the year and settled down. They're still freshmen. They still kind of go up and down. And I was kind of joking with Jack the other day. It's like, man, you caught the ball in that post, and it looked like you had a time bomb in your hand. You're trying to get rid of it. Just relax. It's not going to hurt you. Relax and find the right play. And so sometimes you forget, because they are, playing well and have played big minutes. You forget that they're still freshmen, and they're still seeing looks. McMurray was starting to look at them that they hadn't seen before. And so it took them a little while to adjust, but both those guys are really good, great kids too, and play hard, and they're going to be a lot of fun for the next 3 years.
I mean, as freshmen too, you've got to be happy and sort of inspired by their play, because I'm sure it's not every day that freshmen are asked to come in to fill a void of that guy whose name we can never remember, and not just play, but play big minutes and play well as freshmen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of both those guys. And, really our other freshman, Julian Paredes, he doesn't get much playing time at all. He's a wing. He's, playing behind Hollis and behind Cole Avery and Jezreel Griffin, who stepped forward this year. But
another one we talk about.
He's so Paredes is kind of playing behind those. But you talk about a kid that can really shoot the ball, and he's starting to figure things out, and defensively starting to figure some things out. And, he's got a bright future. So I think those three freshmen for the next 4 years are going to be they're going to have a lot to say about what goes on here in Lobo land.
I forgot to mention Jezreel Griffin, a guy that can shoot outside. He can drive, pass as well. I mean, he has been, like Cole Avery, just another guy in there to fill a void, so to speak, with the players that you lost last year, and has stepped up.
Yeah, I'm proud of Jez. He's a great kid. And, we're from the same – he's from Brownfield, I'm from Meadow, so, that's kind of akin to – Fort Davis and Alpine, you know, and I'm from the small town outside of Brownfield. That's kind of how, and so I've known about Jess since he was a kid. You hear about these little dribbler games where he's scoring, 40 points in a little dribbler game, and of course he had a very storied high school career, and so to watch him mature and really come along, just not even as a player, but just as a person, just as a student and off the court, and as a freshman, I don't know if we got 10 words out of him, and he just sit over there and sit in the corner and smile all the time, and now he's out there talking and trying to be a leader. And so, another kid I'm really, really proud of, stepping forward and, really taking, what Jezreel's done. He scored a little bit for us, but what he's really done is taking the role of, CJ and Steve from last year, of taking on the best player and, trying to, possession by possession, trying to limit their best player defensively. And he's done a pretty good job.
Lobos are back home, 5-game homestand. We're going to talk about it after this quick break. We're sitting down with Sul Ross head men's basketball coach Cliff Carroll right here on the Pulaski Zone. Lenora long three, hits. Shot that one from Alpine, and it falls. Try back and down works. Hook shot, short. Rebound the cone back up, yes. Tristan the Cone, ASC newcomer of the year last year. Driving in it, taking the charges, Fry. Lobos and Lady Lobos are back home at the Gallegos Center Thursday, hosting the Concordia Tornadoes. Lady Lobos tip off at 5:30, and the Lobos at 7:30 on KVLF. Welcome back in for the second half of the Pulaski Zone, sitting down with Sul Ross head basketball coach Cliff Carroll. Now, Coach, we've got 7 games left in this ASC season, and looking at the standings, top 4 teams from each side make the tournament. Currently sitting in the 5 spot, half a game back of McMurray, who we just fell to in a close game and a good game. But we see them again February 9th, that's a Saturday, for the final home game of the ASC season before heading on for the final 2 on the road. So you're right in this. There's a long way to go in this season.
Yeah, we very well could rattle off 7 wins in a row and end up, if you do that, you get a chance to win the West.
Yeah.
Outside chance. I mean, you'd have to have some help, but also, I was telling the guys today, like we're in danger of, if you don't win some home games and all of a sudden, you're fighting with McMurray for that 4th spot and they've got the tiebreak over you because they beat you now. And the way the tiebreak works, it goes
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it goes head to head. And so let's say that, us and McMurray finished 1-1 against each other. So then they would go to best common opponents in the West. And so they've beaten Mary Hardin Baylor, who I think is going to end up winning the West. They certainly have the best team, I think, but they haven't necessarily been playing them. They had a couple weeks where they stumbled a little bit. So, so let's say that they beat Mary Hardin Baylor and we don't, so that they get the tie break. So, I sat with the guys today and got very serious with them. This is important. We need to start beating teams. And, at this point, you kind of control your own destiny, when it comes to the playoffs. You don't necessarily control your own destiny when it comes to the championship. But, if you get on a roll and win some games, you find yourself back in the tournament. Like I said, we're a good team and we're a dangerous team. The way we can shoot the ball and the way we're capable of defending, we don't always do it, but the way we're capable, we can put together 3 really good games and be dangerous in a tournament setting. So, we just got to get there, and it starts this week. We got to beat Concordia, got to beat Mary Hardin Baylor at home.
And again, I know you probably hear it a lot, but ever since I've came here, I've either called, watched, or been at every single basketball game from last year to this year, and obviously it's not last year's team. We know that. Big pieces are gone, but big pieces are still there. And again, just from my purview, the marked improvement from UT Dallas to now, I think, is night and day. A 5-game homestand over the next 3 weeks. How's it feel to know you'll be at home?
Man, I got home Saturday, and of course, you play these games in Abilene and Brownwood, and those are going to be your short trips,
relatively close.
And you always kind of look for, man, we're going to be home at like 11, and I'm actually going to go to bed at a decent hour, as opposed to getting home at like. When we came home from
4
Ozarks,
in the morning.
We got home from Ozarks at 8.
8 in the morning.
And the sun,
I've done that with Cowboys over the years. I know how. I know, man.
So then, and then the way that this year's been, it's been okay. You get home and you try to sleep a little bit, and you get up the next morning and you get all the laundry out and do your laundry, and then you repack your suitcase because in 2 days you're gonna get back on the road. And that's just the way it's been this year. We haven't had home games. We've been on the road. So I was joking with Coach Novak this morning. I was like, how nice was it that you did the laundry and you actually put the laundry into your drawers and not back in your suitcase? You got to put the suitcase back in the closet. And so just the relief there of having, just a little time at home. And, for me, with my family and the 2 little boys and being gone so much and
that's got to be tough too.
Yeah, it's crazy and
kids are growing up.
Yeah, so so this morning, we didn't have. We practiced at 2 and of course, Saul Ross is off for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and so I took a little. I took the morning and laid in bed and wrestled with the boys and watched Mickey Mouse and so that was kind of good for me, just get a little therapy, with the boys at home. So, hopefully just being at home and feeling more comfortable and relaxing a little bit, hopefully getting better sleep in our own beds and just being around a familiar, environment, along with hopefully everybody coming out on Thursday night and being rabid fans, hopefully we get on a roll and get this thing going.
Now, these aren't just going to be good games. Or I should say, these aren't just going to be big games. These are also going to be good games. Yeah,
I mean, if you look at our history, since I've been here with Concordia and Mary Hardin Baylor, the teams we're playing this weekend, you talk about buzzer beaters, you talk about close games, you talk about physical games. I think I would have to go back. I really don't know, but my guess would be that, since I've been here at Saul Ross, it's been 50-50 with those 2 schools. And it's always us 3 who have been talked about in the West.
Yeah.
And this year you're throwing Hardin Simmons, that's pretty good. So, but in the last 3 years, it's been one of us 3, who's been the contender and just great games and great coaching and so yeah, it's going to be fun basketball. Concordia plays a crazy style. They're going to try to get up and down, and we're going to try to get those guys to play a little bit more in half court and so yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Now, what does it really mean to, play at home as opposed to the road? You talk about sleep in your bed better, but talking about just playing at the Gallego Center and what that does while they're on the court as compared to baseball, every field is different. You got your dugout, your bullpen, whatever. Basketball, people calling. Basketball is a little different because of the schematics of the court are the same. But again, the atmosphere can be different, sure. What does it really mean to be coaching at, your house and playing at your house?
Well, first off, you got to think about the very first aspect of all this is the teams that travel here, okay? Every team that comes here, this is their longest trip of the year.
Yeah.
And so they dread this trip every year. And you throw a bunch of city boys from Austin in the bus, and you put them on 190 West, and they get out to like Iran, and they're like, "What,
Where
coach?
are we?"
Well, there's a coyote over there, man. Am I going to be? Yeah, we're fine. And then then they think, well, we're almost there. Then they got another 5 hours to go,
Yep.
And so, or however it is from Iran to here, it's not 5 hours,
No.
3 hours, something like that. So anyways, and then they get out here, and their cell phones don't work. Because all those city boys on Sprint and T-Mobile, they're not tough guys like us, with Verizon and AT&T. So their cell phones don't work, and their Snapchat don't work. So that irritates them. And then it's just a little different getting food out here. You can't go down to the Applebee's and get the 2 for $20. You got to set up a deal with Mr. Magoo or what the Pizza Hut, whatever, Subway, and so it's just a little. Just teams traveling here, it's just a little different. And then you got to remember we're in altitude, and it's not extreme altitude, but it's enough to kind of, knock them off their game a little bit. So our home court advantage is big, and like I said, when you start putting people in the Gallego's a hard place to play. We got tight rims, which we practice every day. We shoot well on these rims.
Oh yeah. But
other teams that are used to loose rims and I call them soft rims, city boy rims, or country club rims, as I tell my guys. Gallego's a hard place to play, and you start putting some rabid fans from the Big Bend in here. You start getting, some of these people, diehards that come out here and they love their Lobos, and all of a sudden it gets to be a tough deal for the other team. And and you can talk about us being comfortable here all you want, but it's more about the other team being uncomfortable and getting them out of their atmosphere and put them down here, and hopefully everybody come through for us this weekend.
Now, the fans know last year's team from seeing them. There's only been one home game.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of the fans, maybe they've been listening. Hopefully they've been listening. But this is really, besides UT Dallas, going to be their first experience seeing this year's team. In the final minute we have, why do they got to come out and see these guys?
Man, we got great kids, and they fought hard, and they've really represented us well. We went out to Phoenix and played 2 ranked teams, and got 2 huge wins out there.
Yeah.
And kind of got on some national radars, with those wins. And then, right after Christmas, we went to San Antonio, and we beat Aurora, who's a national team. They've been in a national tournament, and beat Trinity. And then we played against the number 5 team, Wisconsin Whitewater. You lost by 20, but still it was a great battle. So, we got good kids, man, just like always. I mean, I'm always going to have a team full of good kids, and they're going to be fun to root for. And, we got the big kid, big country, all the kids are going to like him because he looks like Shrek a little bit. And, but they're going to play hard. They're going to fight for you. And, this is a big week. We got a little urgency about us, and we need everybody to come out and support them.
Right on. Coach, 4th time. Hopefully we'll make it a 5th, 6th, 7th and be talking about this come tournament time, right?
Yeah, man. Hopefully at some point we get to come out here and talk about Rangers baseball or something.
Come on out.
Don't always have to talk about the Lobos,
we'll
man.
Hey, whatever you want, Coach. It's your half hour when you come on. Thanks again, Coach.
Appreciate it, bud.
It's been the Palaki Zone. We'll see you next week.